Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines with me, Mr. Potato Head, and we're back here in the city of Birna Tarn, a slightly different view of the city than I usually give you. We're kind of hovering above the city of Takani, looking back over the Tarn, and a snowstorm is setting in, so there's a bit of thunder and lightning going off in the background there as well, so quite a cool view. And in today's episode, there's a couple of things I want to address, problems with the city. The first one is we have a very high unemployment rate, which you'll see shortly. So I want to build a new industry area, and it's going to be a farming industry area, but I'm going to show you the challenge we have with that in a minute. And whilst we're kind of between waiting for that to level up, we're going to do a bit of detailing and also address one of the major public transit issues that we have in the city. So I'm quite excited for today's episode. I'm really excited to jump in. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. So, like I said, I want to do a farm industry, but you can see on the map here, we have absolutely no fertile land. So that means we're not going to be able to make our own crops. So we've got to really think about what we're doing. We're going to have to import them all. We've got this rail line here, which we could use to import, but it's kind of out the way. We don't really have access to it. Or we have the ferry connection. And again, we don't really have access to that. So the road's our only option. So I think this little bit of land here, alongside the new junction we made in the last episode, could be a really good option because we've got really good highway connections. Let me just turn off the snow so we can see what we're doing. Really good highway connections to import our grain. A little bit of challenging terrain, which is going to make it difficult to develop for housing or anything like that anyway, but I think we can make it work as a farm. So what I'm going to do is flatten out along this topographic line here, just like we did in the last episode. Just use the flatten terrain tool and we'll just follow the line. And you know, we might have to change things as we go along. I've not thought this out too much. I've just kind of gone with it, but I think this will be a good idea. And then we're going to lay a dirt road down as kind of our main road that's going to run through the farm. And we're just going to follow this line that we've just built, just like we did in the last episode. So it's a really handy trick we did last time. Excellent. And I think this road will actually eventually continue down. You can see we can probably follow this topographic line along a little bit further, follow it around, and maybe even go up and over the highway into a new area if that's something we want to do. So I think this could be quite a good opportunity to expand in the future as well. So we're kind of not only developing a new farmland, we're also, opening up new areas for development for ourselves. So I think that's really good as well. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's draw in a industry area. Oh, that was a park area. Okay, I don't know if I'm drawing in a park or an industry area right now, but we'll find out in a moment when I plop down this industry main building. So the farm main building. Yep, and we were drawing a park area. So let's just expand that out and replace that with an industry area. Excellent. And then the next thing is, so these crops, greenhouses, you can see no units produced per week. So they're useless to us because we don't have the fertile land, but the animal pasture we can use. So let's just drop that in. And you can see these conform to the terrain really well. And I think this is the kind of thing you'd expect to see in this kind of area. It doesn't matter if there's a cow that's got a bit of a hill to walk up and down. That's what they do. They don't mind it. They wouldn't need perfectly flat lands. So I think we are going to have to rearrange the layout of the farm slightly just to make this work so we can get a few more of those in. But this is going to look pretty good when it's finished. So I'm going to bring this out. I think 7 units should be enough. And then come across. And then when we put that in there, yeah, we've left enough space that if we want to upgrade that kind of main road at any point in the future, we'll be able to. And then along this side of the road, we can add in, I'm going to want to get maybe 4 of these in total along this hill here. So if we connect that up and we can put one in there, yeah, right on the end as well. Excellent. And then across this side, because we are going to be importing all of our crops, we're going to need quite a lot of crops. We're going to have lots of grain silos, lots of storage around so that we never run short of crops. So we've got 4 over there, a couple more over here, and that should keep us going for a while at least. Now, in terms of utilities, I expect in real life somewhere like this would have its own kind of water tower like this. It would run on probably a septic tank for sewage. But you can't really accommodate that in the game too well, so we'll put a water tower in to make it look like it's doing that, but we are going to hook it up to kind of the main water and sewage system as well. And likewise with electricity, I imagine a rural area like this would probably be on a diesel generator or something like that. But we'll put in a windmill there and connect it up to the main grid, so it at least looks like it might be creating its own electricity. And it's a snowy climate. I think there's only one option we can use really, highland cows. We want them to be nice and fluffy. So let's just wait. Oh, are our water pipes in? Yeah, we just need to make sure they're covering. And then we just need to wait for those first trucks to come in that are gonna give us some crops that we need. Oh, and here they come, this first truck. Where's he going? Excellent, look at that. And our cows, our fluffy highland cows, they've popped in there straight away. We've got some more over the back here. That's great. You can see we are going to have a bit of a traffic rush right now because they're all rushing in to fill these things up all at once. Over time, as the supply chain kind of balances out, the traffic will balance out as well. Oh, our third field's going to fill in as well. Yep, very nice, very nice. Is anyone coming to this last one? Yep, there he is, just queuing to get in. And now we're going to have 4 fields full of nice, fluffy highland cows, or highland coos as they call them up in Scotland, or at least that's what the tourists think anyway. And you can see at the moment we're losing a lot of money. That's just because we're importing all of these crops. But as we level up and as we start to export those animal products, will be all good. So we've got enough workers to level up. We've got capacity for 150, which is what we need. We just need to get up to 500 units altogether. Of produced units, so that's going to take a while. Whilst we do that, I'm just going to do a few things, add in a few details around here. First things first, I'm just going to remove that stop sign to get traffic flowing a bit better, and whilst we wait to reach that milestone, I'm just going to add in some details, buffer the highway slightly, make this a bit of a nicer place to be a cow. Okay, and you can see the pollution in the Tarn has almost completely gone, so we'll get rid of 2 of those, just leave the last one in, just to pick up that last bit of pollution. So now let's jump to the public transit issues that I was talking about. You can see here there's 258 people at this stop. On the other line, you know, we've got the similar sort of thing. So we can add more buses in and hope that that sorts it out. But really, I think when we look at where these high numbers are and where they're going, it's mainly people trying to get into the city of Takani and out of the city of Takani. The trolley buses are doing okay. We can probably take a couple down, the number of vehicles down slightly. But I think what we need to do is add kind of a faster, higher capacity method of transit between the city of Takani and Birna Tarn. And we're going to do that with a cable car because it's pretty challenging terrain. And I think it's quite unique, something you'd maybe expect to see on a hill like this. So we're going to add in the end of line stop just here. We'll sort out all the weird terrain things as we go along. But then there was quite a few people along the stop here. So we'll add in a stop just here, and that will give good access to the park there as well. And then I think one across the road here by the high school would be really important. We are going to have to delete a few houses, use a bit of eminent domain, but it's for the good of the city, so I don't mind doing it. Putting a stop just there, and we'll come back and make sure all our paths are connected up so that this really kind of optimizes use for everybody. Now we want one that's kind of right in the heart of Birna Tarn, so the stop's there somewhere along here. And again, we're going to have to destroy a few more houses to make this work, but we'll pop that in there. And I wonder if a fence will just protect this house. Nope, that's not done what I wanted it to. Is that going to work? No, we're going to have to destroy the house. That's okay, we'll put that in there anyway. And then put in our cable car stop. And I think these ones right by it, we're going to replace with commercial. People will want to get to the commercial, and also you wouldn't want to live in a house right by a floating stop where people can see into your garden anyway. And then this last stop, I want to line up with one of these trolley bus stops. I think this might be slightly too far away. Maybe just on the other side of the road here would be good. Squeeze that in there. Right, and then let's connect these up with the lines by destroying as few houses as possible, hopefully. So if we come down here, we are going to have to destroy some houses, unfortunately. But like I say, it's going to really help out the city in the long run, so I think I don't mind doing it. Connect that one up there. This one, can we squeeze it behind the school without destroying that? business. No, we can't, so we're just gonna have to go there and then connect in, and then this final one should be fairly easy to connect straight down here. Might have to destroy a pylon, but we can put that back in to make sure the power's connected. Excellent. So now, like I said, we're just going to add in the path connections to make sure that these are really easy to access for absolutely everyone. And the good thing about these lines is we can build paths underneath the cable car lines, and that's going to help us make lots of pedestrian connectivity around the city and make sure these get maximum use. I don't think we need one over this side particularly. I think, you know, we've got a good road network with connectivity going on there anyway. And there you go, just from that view you can see the whole network set up, and straight away there's people going in and out of that immediately. You can see people getting off the trolley buses and going into that stop. Watch all those people going in. And people coming out and waiting for a trolley bus as well. So that's exactly how I wanted that to work. Really good kind of cross-line transfer. How many people? 94 using that one. So again, you can see straight away that's a busy old stop. Lots of pedestrian activity. That's what we like to see. 216 in this one by the school again, so really good. Only 34 there. I expected more, but I wonder if it's because this bus stop's just slightly too far away. So let's add in a bus stop down at this end of the road here. And also, you know, that's another access to the entrance. 298 down here. So again, if we rethink about the location of these bus stops and add them in to encourage some more kind of line sharing, that's going to improve those numbers even more, and that's going to really help the bus network in general. So I don't like what's going on here with the line, so let's just kind of fix this a little bit so the terrain doesn't look too weird. I will come back and kind of properly sort out this area at a later date. I've got plans for this area. Whoa, 550 people down there now, 76, 250, 236, 422. So that's really good. And if we look at our bus lines now, you can see that people are more evenly spread across the stops. We don't have those one stops with 300 people waiting to get on anymore, because they've got a much quicker, much more direct access to get between the city of Tarn and Birna Tarn, and that's exactly what we wanted. However, in getting rid of one problem, we've created a problem with the trolley buses, that people are now getting off the cable car and going straight onto that. So we will need to up the numbers on there, but this is how I want it to work. It's kind of like a hierarchy system in itself, so that's great. The farm, we're getting there with workers, still a bit of a way off in resources produced. So I'm just going to do a bit more detailing around the city whilst we wait for those numbers to catch up. Okay, and there you go, we're nearly there with the resources produced. 498, 499, 500. There we go, excellent. So we've unlocked a few new things. The flour mill and the bakery aren't going to be too useful to us right now, but they will be in the future. But the barracks, the shed and the small barn, we're definitely going to get those into our cattle farm we've got over here. So I did just add one more animal pasture in just to push us over those worker numbers that we needed. So that's up here. But that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to add a couple more animal pastures in up there. And then we're going to look at some of those new buildings as well that we've just unlocked. So we'll clear some trees and let's squeeze a couple more animal pastures in. That will go there nicely. And then the cattle shed. So we're going to have to expand the industry area, but the cattle shed, if we read about it, this is where the cows go against harsh weather. And we've seen plenty of times that the city gets heavy snowstorms and heavy thunderstorms. So these are going to be really important. But this is obviously not an appropriate place for the shed. So let's just move that, shuffle some of these down a little bit that are less reliant on kind of smooth terrain, and then it seems a bit flatter there, so that might be, there you go, that's a much more appropriate area for it. And actually, rather than butting it up, we can leave space for a small path in there. And then what I want to do is run a road up along the edge of this one, and this is where we're going to fit in our barracks and our shed. So let's just have a quick look at the size of these. Yeah, that would be nice. What about our barrack? I think that's down this end. Okay, yeah, so what we're going to do is create a little stub here and almost create kind of another little homestead, another little farmstead kind of thing going on here. So we'll just squeeze these in. Yep, the barn will be nice. And then, you know, we can't have too much storage for natural resources. We rely so heavily on them, so we'll add in another silo. And then let's get another cattle shed in here, and what I'm going to do is create a little bit of an area with kind of paths along the back here to make it look like there's direct access from the sheds to the fields for the cows, so they can kind of almost go in and out as they please. So I'm just going to detail this area whilst we wait to reach this next level, and I'll be right back with you. We're in profit, you can see now. I'm just going to fast forward through until we reach those next levels and keep an eye on that profit. You'll see the exact amount of profit is going to fluctuate depending on how much we're importing, but we're always going to be making money, and that's the important thing. Okay, and there you go, we've made it to level 3. So again, those greenhouses aren't going to be any use to us at all, but the milking parlour will be. So let's see if we can squeeze that in. I don't actually know if you milk Highland cows, maybe someone out there does, but we're going to be milking our Highland cows. So I think we're going to have to do a bit of terrain work to make this fit in properly, but I think maybe this area here we can have a look at and see what we can do. So let's just flatten it out a little bit. That's obviously quite extreme at the moment, but once we've got the building in, we can smooth it all out a little bit. So let's take it back, smooth that area out. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And actually, we can probably bring that over even more. There you go. And it can connect up to kind of that little area we built for the cows to get between the shed and their fields. Put that road over there, smooth it out even more now. And yeah, that's looking pretty nice. So I'm just going to add in the last couple of details, some more paths, fence along the back to keep the cows in where they should be, some grasses and trees, and that's looking pretty nice. Like I say, we can't have too much storage, so if there's ever a space to squeeze in some silos, we should take advantage of it. And that's looking pretty good. So the other building we unlocked was this lemonade factory. So this is one of the unique factories, and you can see we need crops and glass. Well, we're importing loads of crops anyway, so we might as well make use of it. And we're making glass over here in our ore area. And there's this really conveniently placed, it's not 100% flat, but it's pretty flat area just here. So that's where we're going to squeeze in this factory. So let's level it out as much as we can. And then that's about the right size, I think. So we'll put in the road along the front, and this is where, look at that, and that fits in really nicely. So let's just surround that with a road, because this is going to be important for traffic flow going forwards. So crops and glass are what we need, so we need to make sure we have storage for those things in this area, particularly the crops, because they're coming in from a long way out of the city. Same as we need lots of storage for the crops for our cattle sheds and cow fields. That's what we're going to need for over here. So 2 of those, and then a warehouse. Maybe I'm actually going to swap the side. So let's bring those over onto this side of the road and put a warehouse in. And I'm going to set the warehouse to empty for unique factory products. I don't think we need a warehouse right here for the glass, because we're creating that so close by anyway. So we're going to put in 2 roads. This connection here particularly is going to be really important, because this is where the crops are going to come from. So whether they're coming from our farm area or from the highway, this connection right here is going to be the main route from which our crops come in. So that's going to be really important, and it might get quite busy. And just to stop it being a cul-de-sac, this area, let's create a slope in nice down from there, and then we can just connect up a simple road along there. And that will help traffic flow in the future, because I think we are going to develop this area into something quite special in the future. So I'm happy with that. And you can see this is where we're making the glass, so they can kind of come up quite easily from the glass factory there. We just want this warehouse to be on balance now rather than empty, because we do want to make sure we have some glass to hand. And then let me just smooth out this area to make it look a bit more natural again. And I'm quite pleased with how that's turned out, actually. You know, like I say, this might get quite busy, so let's just put in some asymmetric roads just to increase the capacity kind of through there, and then just make sure the road priorities are set up properly. But all in all, that's pretty good. I think we'll have to check this. We've got plenty of crops at the moment and we've got plenty of glass, so let's boost that up to 150, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. If we ever don't have enough natural resources, we'll come back and edit that. But for now, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Leave you with a city tour of what we've achieved today, and whatever you're doing for the rest of the day, make sure you enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.